here with Peter Voss from AIGO. Welcome to the AI Infra Conference.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me here.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I'm interested to hear more about artificial intelligence, general intelligence. What are the themes here of the conference? And I know you've spent a lot of time focused on this area. Tell us what AIGO is up to.
Yeah, so it's AIGO like you go, AIGO. Yeah, AIGO. Um, so what AIGO is focused on is to develop the real thing, to develop AI that can think, learn, and reason like a human. And that's called artificial general intelligence. And we've been on this mission for more than 20 years, actually. In fact, as it turns out, I coined the term AGI together with two other people in 2002.
Wow.
And that was really to have the idea to go back to the original dream of AI, to have thinking machines. And, I think we're getting close now to doing it, but it has to be done in a certain way in order to actually have it work efficiently.
That's interesting. So give me a little bit more in terms of your perspective on general intelligence and what that means compared to the large language model activity that everyone's focused on.
Right, right. So when the term AI was coined, which is now actually 69 years ago,
Wow.
they they were thinking about building machines that can think and learn pretty much anything that a human can learn and potentially more. So to be a very general purpose learner and reasoner, that was the idea. And they actually thought they could solve this problem in like a few years,
Yeah.
69 years ago. Now, as it turned out, of course, the problem was much, 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 much harder. So what happened to the field of AI, it turned into the field of narrow AI. And there's actually a very big difference here, because what narrow AI is, you pick one particular problem or one particular set of problems, and then you use human intelligence to see how you can write a program to solve that problem. So a good example here is IBM's Deep Blue world chess champion.
Right.
It's the ingenuity of the engineers that figured out how to write the program to play a mean game of chess.
Right. That was Watson, right?
The software itself, the program itself, certainly didn't have general intelligence. It couldn't even learn how to play checkers. So that's actually the mode we've been in for a long time now in the field of AI, to pick one problem. Now, with large language models, it's of course a wider range of problems, in terms of being able to do language and do understanding and to summarize things and so on. But they are still very much crafted and engineered to do the specific thing. And that's why it requires a lot of engineering, for example, to get these large language models to do serious work in the enterprise. There's a lot of fine tuning that needs to be done, and training and putting guardrails around and external databases and whatnot. So there's still a lot of engineering, because it's still like a narrow thing. So now turning the page and going back to the original dream of AI, to build thinking machines, then you need to think about it like a human. You can take a human and put them, a smart human, with, say, college educated, and they can step into almost any job. They can become an accountant or a programmer or a lawyer, or work in customer support, or be a manager or whatever. And they can learn that largely by themselves. They can hit the books, they can ask questions and so on. And that's really what AGI is that kind of system that can learn automatically.
So,
And large language models are not the path to getting that.
so do you see that as building blocks where large language models can handle a certain amount of more rudimentary tasks, and then general intelligence handles more thinking related tasks and other kinds of solutions?
No, in fact, AGI will really replace large language models in these more routine tasks as well, because there are big limitations with large language models. First of all, they insanely expensive to train. Now we have Sam Altman recently said we need $7 trillion, to build
the energy cost of GPUs, right?
They're talking about spending $100 billion to build a model, and these models are throwaway basically, because they cannot adapt. So a big problem is they hallucinate. They don't know what they don't know. They make errors, and that's really inherent. The problem is that they're very expensive and they cannot adapt. You cannot teach them new things. That's why they have to throw away the model and build a new model. So that technology really isn't, it's going to be superseded by AGIs that can learn adaptively and continually learn and keep up to date with new information. Now, there are some applications where huge amounts of data need to be number crunched and so on. That, like maybe creating movies, that sort of the large language model technology is used for. But in terms of replacing human jobs, even routine ones, AGI, proper AGI will actually be, that can learn incrementally, that doesn't require these huge training sets. They're really going to make much more sense.
Right. So where are we in the evolution? We talked about a number of years already in.
Right.
Where are we at starting to solve problems with AGI, and where are you focused?
Yeah, so that's a good question. There, some people believe that large language models can eventually get to the point of AGI, but there's more and more evidence now that large language models are really not the technology that can get us to AGI. In fact, the chief scientist of Meta, Jan LeCun, recently said, specifically, I quote him, large language models are an off-ramp to AGI, a distraction, a dead end. So he put it very forcefully, and I actually agree with him, because of the fundamental limitations that they are so incredibly expensive that they cannot learn in real time. They're really not the path to it. So you really need a paradigm shift to systems that can learn interactively. Now, those are called cognitive AI as opposed to statistical AI. Statistical AI is basically large, big data. And the problem is all the big companies have a lot of data, they have a lot of computing power, so that's kind of the hammer they've got, so they try and make everything look like a nail. And they're really not looking at the alternate approach of cognitive AI, of systems that can learn incrementally. And this is what our company has been working on for really since our inception 20 years ago, is to get a cognitive AI architecture, to get that to the point where it's at human level and competitive.
So what kind of solutions or problems are you delivering to the market and fixing?
So we have over the years alternated between doing development of our core technology and commercializing it.
Right.
And our commercialization has always been in the call center. So one of our recent customers is 1-800-Flowers and Harry and David group of companies,
Sure.
and we did their customer support. So at this last Valentine's Day, we actually replaced 3,000 agents that they normally had to hire for just a week, a few days before Valentine, a few days after. So that was really a great success for automation. The problem is the commercial application of our technology at this stage is sort of a distraction, because you end up doing a lot of special engineering. So it's much closer to the sort of narrow AI approach. So we actually decided to put our commercial business completely on hold so that we can focus 100% on bringing the core technology to full human level, to college level. And then the system will be able to learn by itself, and it won't constantly need engineering to tweak it and to adjust it. It'll be able to learn by itself, or like a human will be able to
Well,
adjust.
I understand the words and the phrases that you're saying, but
Yeah.
help paint the picture even further by the kind of work that you see being assigned to
AGI.
yeah, and the problems we're solving.
Yeah. So it's really any cognitive job that a human can do. I mean, that's what we're talking
Yeah.
about, to be able to think, learn, and reason like a human. So it would be, whether it's bookkeeping, whether it's, administration, whether
Doing
it's
this interview.
In fact, they already have some interviews that are done by ChatGPT,
Yeah.
and so on. Yes, absolutely. But the things that I'm excited about and why I believe AGI will be so beneficial for humanity and will really help humans flourish is I'll give just 3 examples. The one is, imagine having an AGI that teaches itself to become a PhD level cancer researcher.
Mm.
Now, you can now take 1,000,000 copies of that, and you have 1,000,000 PhD level cancer researchers at a much lower cost than humans, and that can communicate much better with each other. Imagine what progress we'll make, in this and other diseases, but also in any area that requires brain power, whether it's better batteries or dealing with pollution or nanotechnology, materials, fusion power, any of those things. We're going to make much, much more rapid progress with having AGIs doing that research and helping us figure things out. So that's one area. The other area, sort of what we were just talking about, is really dramatically reducing the cost of goods and services by automating a lot more. But the third area is I'm almost most excited about is what I call a personal assistant. And the reason I double up on the personal is that kind of two aspects of personal that are important. The one personal is that you own it and it serves your agenda, not some mega corporations, like we have now. So that's, you own it, you control, you decide what it shares with whom. And the second personal is it's hyper personalized to you. It's yours. It learns whatever you want to teach it about your history, your goals, your wishes, your desires, your relationships, and so on. So it'll be a tremendous help to make better decisions in life, to think things through, and to do the dirty work like dealing with insurance companies and DMV or
Right.
whatever.
Right.
So it'll be on the one hand like a little angel on your shoulder that can help you avoid mistakes and make better decisions and help you through difficult times. And on the other hand, it'll be like an exocortex, like an extension of your brain,
Amazing.
And so I see that as tremendous benefit for humanity to have this additional intelligence to help us flourish.
I love it. I love the optimism too. So let's keep it on that level for another second. And do you have a timeline in mind? Is this something we'll see in the next 5, 10, 20 years?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've been working at this for a long time, so we have a lot of practical experience. We have commercial experience. We have a lot of theory behind it. We believe that with our approach, with the cognitive AI approach, that only needs a few million words to train, and it needs maybe a few $1,000s of training, not millions or billions. We believe by just scaling up our team, we could get to a teenager intelligence in 2 years, and then to college level in another year after that. So I think we could have this in 3 years with the
That's
right
exciting.
approach.
And does this manifest as agent technology, or how does this show up to a user?
Well, it'll be something that lives on your computer, on your phone, or or in a corporate environment. It'll just be running on a server somewhere,
Okay.
presumably.
Where have you started building some of your test cases or your innovation centers? What kind of projects are you working on?
Yeah. So, apart from the commercial side that we did, which was call center automation, right now our focus is on teaching the system like a child. So we really are building, what we're currently doing is we are building this curriculum to teach the system language and reasoning from the ground up, the way you would teach a child. So right now we're focusing on sort of roughly 3-year-old,
Wow.
to build the foundation to then go to 4, 5, 6, to get to, like, by the time you get to 12, 13 or so, the system can largely learn by itself. Because if you imagine a motivated teenager that isn't completely distracted by hormones, can actually learn a lot by itself, And so that's, by the time we get there, then the system will be able to teach itself very, very quickly. But right now, we have to give it a lot of guidance and build the curriculum to teach it effectively, to give it those foundations of language, knowledge, and reasoning.
Yeah. Well, we know it's really powerful today. We see it getting more powerful in a few years. Beside the angel on your shoulder, is the other shoulder there with the
The
opposite?
devil? No, no, no,
Are
no.
you concerned about some of this power being misused and applied in other ways?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. And I actually have thought about that a lot, and I've written some papers on that. I actually believe that higher intelligence, having more intelligence, will make us better people. And there's sort of a deeper reason behind that, because a lot of things that we do that we regret, that are basically wrong, that are bad, we regret. Um,
You mean
or
behaviorally?
yeah, just
Yeah.
decisions we
Yeah.
make.
Okay.
In fact, I can concretize it with 9/11, which most of us went through. There are kind of at least three things. The first thing is we tend to act emotionally often when maybe we shouldn't. So 9/11, we've got to hit out at somebody. Hey, let's invade Afghanistan, Iraq, whatever. We've got to get back at somebody. So it's an emotional reaction, which again, with more intelligence, you won't immediately have that emotional reaction. The second thing is we make decisions with limited knowledge. I hear something that sounds right and supports my prejudices, maybe, or my preconceptions, and okay, check. I've like weapons of mass destruction. Check. Yeah, we can go ahead. Whereas maybe with more intelligence, you can do more research and get a more balanced view of what reality is. So you can make your decisions based on better information. The third area where we tend to fall down and make mistakes is that we're not very good at logical thinking. It's an evolutionary afterthought. We're better than animals
Right.
at it, but we're really not that good at logical thinking. Now, again, an AGI will be very good at being able to think things through. Like, what are the consequences of invading Iraq? Is that really going to give us the end result? Is that likely to give us the end result we want?
So in a
Um,
way, activating all that brain power we don't use.
yeah, right, right. So it'll help us think things through. So that's kind of the argument I have for why intelligence will inherently uh, reduce the number of bad decisions we make, things we regret, that are ultimately, from a different perspective, those are immoral. The decisions. Now, there will always be people that for some reason don't listen to their angel. But if we have enough people who do listen to the angel, then we can build the defenses and we can use the intelligence. So as long as we have more good cops and bad cops,
Yeah.
and with AGI, I believe we
I
will.
like the
We
positivity
can
there.
we can build those defenses against the rogue, agents.
Since you're writing, have you seen evidence of that taking place in the LLM space?
No, because they don't have real intelligence.
Okay, they're just looking
They
at
they don't have that kind of intelligence. They are, in fact, it's kind of worse because they are trained on all the garbage on the internet. So they are trained on 10 trillion pieces of information
You
from
have a pretty strong view
Twitter
that
and
the LLM space is going to move away.
yeah, yeah. So they're trained on 10 trillion pieces of good, bad, and ugly information, and
Yeah.
they don't know what's good, bad, and what's ugly. So that's why they have to build so many guardrails around these things,
So
and
yeah.
fine tune them and so on, so that they don't start swearing at you. And no, it's kind of the wrong technology for that. It didn't build its knowledge systematically, rationally, the way you would want an agent to do. And then they can't think about their own thinking. We have metacognition. We can think about our own thinking and reflect on it. They really can't do that, or at least not well at all.
Peter, I like the world you're painting
Mhm.
and can't wait to see it all evolve. Thanks for spending some great time with us and sharing your views. It's an exciting area and one obviously you know a lot about. So we'll be keeping in touch.
Yeah, great. And I hope anybody who hears this and wants to accelerate AGI happening, please talk to me. And I think it'll be terrific for mankind.
Thank you very much.
All
That's
right, thank
great.
you.